What's going on, guys? This is Going for Two podcast, episode number 9. I'm your host, Hunter Waldrop. This is my co-host, Jansen Jasperson. Jance, how we doing today, buddy?
We're doing great, man. Like always, another great weekend of college football. Some
Absolutely.
upsets that I didn't think were going to happen, which
We'll get to that in a second.
we'll get to that in a little bit. But other than that, man, it was a great weekend. It was a
Yeah,
great weekend. How
absolutely.
about you, buddy?
Great weekend. Enjoyed my time with my friends down here at college. Watched all the games. Had the 3 TV set up like always, and
Setup
watched.
is legendary.
Yeah, it's a nice setup if I do say so myself. Yeah, definitely some. I have to make a statement later on this show about the Miami Hurricanes, so don't worry, we'll get to that. I guess I could just go and get out of the way now. Yes, I know in our playoff prediction video, I said Miami was gonna make the playoffs. I thought they were gonna run the table in the ACC, and I had to come to the realization this is not the '80s or the early 2000s anymore. Mario Cristobal's got some work to do, but hey, Nick Saban lost to ULM Monroe his first year at Alabama. So
Happens.
it happens.
Happens, man.
Yeah, it wasn't even like close. That was the thing. So yeah, my bad on that. Definitely, I remember before we filmed that, I was like, should I put Michigan in? Should I put Georgia in? I was like, nah, I already got Miami all in. I might as well just go with them. Well, now it just came back to backfire on me. Had to get that out of the way, but yeah, weekend great. I love college football. Another great weekend. I can't believe it's already week 5. It's gone by
Neither
so
can I,
fast.
man. It's going
We
by
have to
way too
enjoy it.
fast.
We're gonna be halfway through the season next week
Next week.
or in a few weeks here, so we gotta soak it all in because before we know it, it's gonna be January again,
Over.
and so I know me and you are enjoying it, so that's good.
Absolutely. And I think everybody else is enjoying it too.
Yeah, that's
Because
for
these
sure.
kids are just playing some great ball, and it's very
I know.
entertaining
I,
to
I
see.
mean, college football is always exciting because there's something different every year. Like we'll get to it in a second, but Kansas and Duke being that good right now, and
Back to the booth.
Nebraska is still not back. So I mean, all of it's just great. We'll talk more about it here in a little bit, but we're gonna just go over our week 4 games that we had highlighted. Go over some week 5 games. We're introducing 2 new things to the show. Excuse me, later in the show at the end. So looking forward to that. So let's hop right on into it, my friend.
Let's get into it. All right, guys. If you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Going for Two podcast with Jason and Hunter. We post weekly on our YouTube, going over the week before and then the week coming up, who we have winning in the games in the week ahead, and then discussing the games in the past week. Leave us a like and a comment. We'll take good or bad comments. If there's anything that y'all think we could do better, let us know. And if you were writing the same thing we were writing, let us know as well, because
Yeah, go ahead and drop the Miami hate comments for me in the chat.
the Miami slander.
Yeah, they deserve
But
it. They do.
and then also follow us on Twitter, going_for2. Hunter and I get on there every now and then, and we send out some tweets about some games that we've talked about on the podcast.
Hey, I was
And then
hot
the
on the
games that we
Twitter
were
this
hot.
weekend.
You were. I didn't really have enough time to get on Twitter and tweet things out, but I had to get on there and shout you out, ask you how your Canes were doing. But follow
Yeah,
us on Twitter and be active with us, because that's
it's a
what
great
we
way to
love.
interact.
Yeah, we like to be active with our fans. So,
Yeah, for sure.
but all right, let's get into it.
Yes, sir. I got it. So, wow, this is just a heartbreaker to just talk about because I have a soft spot for the Arkansas Razorbacks in my heart. I've always been like,
Me too.
raised to cheer for them just a little bit. My dad, he always had a soft spot for the Razorbacks as well. So we always like to say "Woo Pig Suey," and they went through it with Chad Morris and whatnot, and then Sam Pittman's rebuilt it. And this year we were like, man, they're gonna be the team they're gonna be the ones that are gonna upset, and this is gonna be a team that puts Arkansas back on the map like it's '98, and they had Brandon Burlsworth. Remember that they barely lost to Tennessee. They
That
could
was
have
a
won the Natty.
while ago.
Yeah. But and I still think they are a very good team. I think they should still be highly considered as a top team in the nation. I know they're ranked 20th now. They dropped 10 spots, but man, shout out Texas A&M. They made more plays when it mattered most. I'm not gonna lie. First quarter, Arkansas, it looked like they were about to blow the doors
them
off
out.
A&M, and then just like the thing that changed the game was that little if KJ Jefferson wouldn't have tried to dive from so far away,
Why do you try to dive in the end zone on the 3-yard line when you
yeah,
have Rocket Sanders as your running back? You
yeah,
give him the rock and you let him do what he does best. Run it down their throat.
yeah, that was just a little too far. Maybe try and just get a little. I mean, I
Or
don't hate
even
that he was diving over the line. It was just too far back, and that whole play just changed the game. I was telling my friends earlier, like, man, even if Arkansas would have kicked a field goal before halftime, made it 17-7, I think they win the game because they would have gained a little bit of momentum back. But that play right there, that fumble, scoop, and score with the lateral. Shout out to the guy on
that was
A&M.
just
Shout out to the guy on A&M for just having a big football mind, like knowing like that's just football. You don't teach that, you don't practice that. That's just so. Shout out to
that's
him. That
just
was a really good
instincts.
play. Yeah.
I've never
Um,
seen anything like that. And I didn't get to watch this game. I watched a little bit of it, but when I went back and watched the highlights for it,
yeah.
that handoff was, and I've never seen anything like it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how he thought of that, but I mean, it got Jimbo fired up, and I think that was the big turning point in the game
I
for sure.
think between that and that changed the momentum of the game. I think that's what obviously propelled A&M to get the win here. But that and Max Johnson took care of the football. Haynes King did not take care of the football. Max Johnson, I think it's simple
Yeah,
stuff like that. A&M would be undefeated right now if Max Johnson would have played against App State,
I think so too.
in my opinion. A&M's right back in it. I know, and as the season goes on, if they continue to win games, then that App State loss is going to kind of be forgotten about. Because if they go through these next stretch of games where they start SEC West play and they start winning, they're going to be fine. They'll make their way back up through the rankings. I know they're back in like 17, 18. I can't remember the exact spot. Arkansas fell all the way to 20. But great game. Great game. I'm glad we chose this one as the game of the week.
Me too.
Yeah. I think both of these teams can still make a legitimate chance at a run at the SEC West. They both only have
Futures
one
are bright
loss.
for both teams for
Yeah,
sure.
they're both gonna be okay, but I just hope that A&M offense it's got to pick up.
Yeah,
It's
it has
still
to.
got to pick up. So
I think their passing game will definitely pick up even more than it is now because I think I'm really liking this Evan Stewart kid. This freshman they have at A&M is an absolute playmaker. He was the number 1 wide receiver in the nation coming out of high school last year, and he is electric. And I think giving him more time in college and giving him more playing time, he will evolve and he will become even better than he is now. And I think could potentially be wide receiver 1 for an NFL team someday. But
yeah, for sure.
he's a freshman. That's kind of hard to tell right now, but he's on the right track for doing good. So
I agree. He's special. So
all right, let's get into week 4.
yeah, let's do it. Wow, what an absolute shootout of a game. This was one of the games on the three screens we had rolling. It looked like every time you looked up, there was some sort of points being scored, which is expected when you're watching Wake Forest play. Non-existent defense, but Clemson, their defense showed a lot of holes this week.
Yes.
Showed a lot of holes, especially that secondary, a bunch of question marks. I will say this: I really thought that Wake Forest was going to get up to a lead, and then DJU would get cut. And I know that Wake Forest had the pass rush was non-existent for them, but still, DJ made great plays, and he showed that he can do it. I will give him credit. This is the best game I've ever seen him play,
I'll give him credit too. He did
except
look
for maybe that Notre Dame game during the COVID year was pretty solid. But as the starter here, this is the best game I've seen him play. And he showed that he can handle the pressure, and they, found a way out on top and got the win. So shout out Clemson.
and I think Will Shipley had a lot to do with that win as well.
Yeah, that Wake
He
Forest defense is
was
terrible.
he just absolutely ran the ball down their throat. He's so physical, and he's gonna make a great running back in the NFL one day.
He's
For
very,
sure.
straight to the point. He doesn't
Yes.
like to juke. He likes to run over people, and he's not that big, so
No, he's
shout out
not.
to him. Sam Hartman was the best player on the field, 6 touchdown passes, my lord.
And then you
Um,
still lose the game. That's
Still lost the
impressive.
game. But hey, Wake
Especially on
Forest,
a defense like Clemson's. You put up 45 on Clemson's defense, that's impressive.
some things I'll never understand. Why did he go for the end zone on that last play in overtime? Like, you only had to get 8 yards, 10 yards. I can't remember what it was. It was 10 or 8, somewhere in that range.
Somewhere in that range,
And
yeah.
he went all the way to the end zone. And, like, I wasn't against it until they showed where the ball was going. I see 3 white jerseys right there. So, I don't know. But, hey, he played a heck of a
Unfortunate.
game. I'm
He did.
glad he's back because it
Me too.
makes Wake Forest a huge threat in the ACC. Wake Forest can still run the table in the ACC and make the championship game. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Me too. I'm a big Sam Hartman fan.
Yeah.
Ever since he's been on, I watched QB1 on
Yeah.
Netflix when he was on it, and that's where my fanhood of him began. Was there, but I think he's legit, and I think he's going to be a playmaker in the NFL one day. But
I do as well. All
we'll
right,
see.
we'll hop on over to the next one. Oh my gosh. If
Florida,
there was
Tennessee.
if
So the
there was a
past
way
16 years, or the 16 times Florida and Tennessee has played each other, Florida has won.
15. It was 15 and 1 in 15 was Tennessee. They won in 2016.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I
But
didn't remember
still
what that.
terrible.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
still bad.
if there was a
But
way
I thought
both
Tennessee
teams
should have beaten by more than 5
I don't think the score
in Knoxville.
indicates how Tennessee pulled away in the second half.
Yeah.
Um, if there's a way both teams could lose this game, I was here for it. Because yes, I did pick Tennessee to cover the spread 9.5, which they were winning by 11, and then allowed Florida to score that garbage time touchdown. And so many bad beats this weekend. I'm not here for it. They did not cover the 9.5. It's okay. But that defense, not good. I don't think best game Anthony Richardson's played this year, in my opinion, as far as throwing and running. It was the first time. Hey, let's give a round of applause. Florida threw a touchdown pass. Their first touchdown pass comes in week 4 against a terrible
Against
Vols defense.
Yeah, I was about to say against a
Um,
terrible Tennessee defense.
but hey, they didn't do it against USF either. So, um, but hey, shout out Hendon Hooker. He
He
made
balled.
plays, even with his legs, and he's not a very, run heavy quarterback at all. And when it pocket broke down, he made plays with his legs. I think that was
Okay.
kind of a game changer right there.
I
Tennessee
agree.
made more plays. Neyland Stadium was rocking. I know Florida took the loss, but I think it was honestly a huge growing point under the Billy Napier era down there. And I think, they let Anthony Richardson loose. They let him run. They let him throw. And I think,
They
he's got
they
the
let him be
potential's
athletic,
there. We've been
which you
saying it
gotta
all the
do.
time. The potential's there. He's just got to play consistent. But Tennessee now in the top 10 for the first time in a while. I can't remember the year. But good for them. The Voltards are back. They're so back. And just to get their heart broke, because they are going to have a tough stretch of games. I know they play LSU and Alabama. They have a bye week this week, and then it's like LSU, Alabama, and maybe Kentucky. Like they
You
have
bet
3 games.
I'm gonna be honest, you better watch out. LSU might get a sneak win in there.
Hey, I
That
predicted
might
that
be a
in our
trap
SEC.
game.
In our SEC video, I did say LSU was going to win. Tennessee will be undefeated, I guess 4-0 now, rolling into Death Valley.
Death Valley, yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But shout out to the Vols. Yeah, don't
For
get
taking
too
care of
comfortable. Don't get too comfortable in the top 10 now.
Yeah, no. Because
We'll roll on.
once you play LSU, you're gonna get knocked out.
Yeah. Wow. Already calling a shot.
I'll
We'll
call
roll
my
into the
shots today.
we'll roll into the next game. Ohio State took on Wisconsin, and They mollywopped them up and down the field. Ohio State, I know a bunch of people were like, "Oh man, that offense just doesn't seem as legit as we thought they would." After week 1 against Notre Dame, I'm guilty as charged. Well, Ohio State's offense is what everything we expected it to be. It's legit. It's the
It
best
is
in the
legit.
nation.
C.J. Stroud's legit. That
C.J. Stroud's the Heisman
wide receiver
frontrunner.
cord is
Travion Henderson is good. He showed he's still got it. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the new whatever, fill in the blank. Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, whatever you want to say. He's that dude.
he's that guy. Yeah, because
Wisconsin,
everybody wants to be on Jackson,
yeah,
and it's like, okay, once you're on him, you got other people to take care of, and
yeah.
those guys can ball too. I mean, they're recruits going to Ohio State, so you know they're good. You know they're not bad. So
Wisconsin, yeah, I was low on them coming into this year. I think I had them going 7-5.
yeah, I don't want to talk about Wisconsin.
They are not. The future is not bright for the Badgers. I know Paul Chryst, their head coach, has won had a lot of double-digit win years, and then, pardon me, during the COVID year, obviously they didn't even play double-digit games, so they threw that one out. Last year they didn't. He's on track to have 3 straight years of not winning 10-plus games, where he did for 3 or 4 or 5 years previously. So I don't know. Might be some trouble up in Madison, but we'll see.
It might be getting a little warm.
Just a little bit. I wouldn't be worried about him leaving this year, though. Well, hang on. I'm going to row my boat into the next game because we're talking about the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Yes, I know. Everybody, you had to throw shots at me for the whole Miami thing. Well, I said at the beginning of this year, Minnesota was the most underrated team in the Big Ten and that they were going to win the West. And they pulled into East Lansing, and a lot of people are like, man, Minnesota ain't played nobody. You know, how are they going to do against a fair share? And they're going on the road for the first time. Well, they were shutting out Michigan State until there was about a minute left in the game.
And garbage time.
This game was not even close. Tanner Morgan, 23 of 26, over 250-plus yards passing. Muhammad Ibrahim, 100-and-something yards rushing, a few touchdowns. I mean, oof. Minnesota's definitely the favorite to win the Big Ten West now, if you ask me.
They look good.
They look really good.
Really good.
They're very fundamentally sound offense, defense, special teams, all of it. Shutting down that Michigan State offense who cannot run the ball to save their life. My God, it's almost like watching 6-year-old peewee ball out there. Mel Tucker, man, you better be lucky you got paid last year because – I mean, until you get some recruits and you really fix up that secondary, man, there might be a contract restructuring here soon to lower that buyout because it is not looking too good in East Lansing. And by the way, I'm going to bring this up. Our second episode, this doesn't seem like a hot take anymore, but it was back in August before the season started. You know who Michigan State plays this week, Jansen? They play the Maryland Terrapins.
Maryland's going to beat them.
Remember what I said back in August?
That Maryland was going to beat them?
I said that Maryland was going to beat Michigan State. And Maryland is now favored by more than a touchdown against the Spartans at home going into this week 5.
I mean, Maryland played tough. They
played Michigan close, man.
Yeah, they did.
So in the big house, too.
They were leading like most of the first half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Blake Corum.
My God.
It's just an absolute.
We'll go ahead and talk about them while we're on the Big Ten. Blake Corum had 34 carries, 243 yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns.
Like how? The dude's like 5'8".
And he's a dog. He had 5 last week. I know they played UConn, but like when you play UConn, you're supposed to have good stats. And so, yeah, Blake Corum is legit, dude, man. He's probably the second best running back in the Big Ten behind Muhammad Ibrahim at Minnesota, because I think Ibrahim leads the nation in rushing yards right now. Yeah, but hey, PJ Fleck rowing the boat. I know we
love PJ Fleck.
We're going to talk more about Minnesota later. Yeah, huge PJ Fleck guy. Yeah, we'll talk more about Minnesota later. Plenty. I'm not even worried about that. Okay, man, I'll let you. You're the Texas dude. I'll let you go. You take care of this one, buddy.
I just have one thing to say. Mr. Steve Sark what you doing, man? This is Texas Tech. Come on now. You lost to them last year. This was your chance to go into Lubbock and shut up Texas Tech fans. Yet you fumbled the bag again. I don't know what the hell Texas's deal is, but they need to get it. I think they need to get. I really do think that they should have absolutely just destroyed Texas Tech. But I mean, that should just. I think this game does kind of show you how good Texas Tech is after beating U of H and now beating Texas. I think that there is a chance, like there is an argument to put them in the top 25, but I'm not with it because U of H lost to Kansas and Texas
Hey,
is
whoa,
Texas.
whoa, no Kansas slander on here, please.
I'm not trying to like no hate on Kansas. Like I love Kansas to death. Like I was rooting for them all weekend, but
So was my wallet.
yeah, same here. And but like come on. Like it's you play U of H who loses to Kansas and you beat them in Lubbock and then you rush the field after you beat them in Lubbock. Like come on. And then but I mean,
Hey, this one deserved the field storming.
I thought it was a pretty good game, but I don't think it should have been this close at all.
Yeah, hang on, let me scoot closer to my mic real quick because I love saying this. This is why you play the game, folks.
Yes.
After that Texas-Alabama
For
game, everybody
BS
would have
games
thought,
like this.
yeah, everybody would have thought Texas was going to blow the doors off Texas Tech.
Texas blew the doors off my wallet.
I did not bet on this game. The line was that short for a reason. And I will say this: Texas's offense is not the reason they lost this game.
No, it was
Hudson Card played pretty solid. He had a nice completion percentage. He had a little over 200 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. I know he threw a pick somewhere in there. Bijan played pretty solid. Texas Tech just wanted it more. They never gave up. And here's the thing. Where's that Texas defense that played against Alabama in week 2?
Yeah.
If that Texas defense shows up every week, Texas wouldn't have to worry about, oh, man, we'll be okay if we can just hold on until Quinn Ewers gets back. Because if that defense shows up every week, dude, you don't even need Quinn Ewers.
No.
You can hold that tied offense to only 20 points.
You can put Bijan as your quarterback, and I think you'd be all right. Run Wildcat the entire game. But
I mean, Texas, the thing with them is just they got to play to their full potential every single week until Quinn gets back. Because then when Quinn gets back, the offense we saw will be rolling if he plays to the caliber that he can. And then you can kind of let stuff like that slide and give up a few more touchdowns if Quinn's playing on his money.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was the offense. The defense has got to just play more consistent. We've seen what they can do. They just got to do it. I think
they play our boy JT this weekend. So
yeah, they do play
in
JT.
Austin. So.
I think it'll be a nice bounce back game. But hey, watch out, Mountaineers! They got to win against Virginia Tech this past week. Might be a little momentum builder, but I think with it being in Austin, I don't think it'll be necessarily close. I think Texas opened up as 9.5-point favorites. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's about right.
I think that.
Man, Hudson Card, you just gotta. It's not even him, but like if he continues just to game manage and just get the job done, and the defense steps up, Texas will be okay. The Big 12 is wide open. Let me just say that. My goodness, wide open. Kansas is leading the Big 12. Man, if you would have shown me a picture, I wish we had a picture of the standings we could pull up right now, but we can't. If you would show me a picture of what the standings would have been like after week 4 in the Big 12 with Kansas in the front and then Texas second to last, dude, I've been like, man, this is crazy. It's 2045. But no.
You probably would have turned to whoever showed you that and been like, I don't know what you're smoking, but whatever it is,
give me some. Yeah. But, yeah, I think, hey, Texas Tech, they got a nice win. They are going on the road to Manhattan, Kansas this week. We're going to talk about it on the next slide. They play Kansas State, who had a big win. Texas, they play West Virginia, like you said, at home. Both these teams, man, you just don't – in the Big 12, you just don't ever know anymore. You just don't know. And it's so exciting to watch this conference, dude. I know it's not – they don't have the field filled with 5 stars. Well, Texas might, but not everybody does. And I think that's what makes it so interesting. It's so even even playing. But
This
with
is
all that
this is
said,
this is
go
what I
ahead.
have to say to Texas. If I could say one thing to the Texas organization is, if you're going to lose to Texas Tech, when you join the SEC, you better watch out for Vanderbilt. You better not
Okay,
sneak
Texas Tech's
around on
not Vandy bad.
Mizzou or nah. Yeah, they are a little bit better. They'd beat Vanderbilt any day of the week, but 9
You
times
better
out of
watch
10
out
they'll
for
beat
teams
Vandy. But
like I don't know, LSU, Auburn, the middle of the road West
the middle of the
teams.
round, yeah.
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 So, all right. Well, we'll roll into the next game. Hey, round of applause. Shout out
Marcus
Notre Dame.
Freeman
Shout out Notre
needed
Dame.
that.
I tweeted out, I was like, man, Notre Dame needs this win. Can they just hold on? I don't know like what's going on in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, but like they need to like drink different water because that defense doesn't know how to function properly. My God, you give up 45 points to Notre Dame?
A
Notre
backup
Dame,
quarterback at Notre Dame, yeah,
yeah.
you're
After Notre Dame couldn't even put up, what was it? They scored 23, 22 points on Marshall.
and then
Yeah.
North Carolina gives up like 60 something to App State.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, not here for all that. Drake May can only do so much. Drake May can throw the ball. He can't, fill gaps and pass rush too. My goodness.
It's like Giselle
Gene
said, that's
Chizik,
on
what are you
me.
doing, man? That's a name right there. He's the defensive coordinator at North Carolina. Former
Gene Chisholm.
Gene Chizik, yeah, the former national championship head coach winner at Auburn under Cam Newton. Yeah, under Cam Newton. I'll say that because Cam Newton ran that thing. Yeah, no, they got to figure out defense because if you're letting 45 points up to Notre Dame, dude, I'm sorry. It is going to be a long year. And Mac Brown, you just need to probably sign those retirement papers if this is going to keep up.
I agree. Mac Brown, you need to get out of there, big dog, because
This is just
you're
rough.
embarrassing the program.
Yeah. Unless you hey, if they could figure out the defense, they'd be a contender.
Yeah,
in the
they would,
ACC.
because
that offense is legit.
Drake May makes that quarterback makes that offense elite. But they just need to get their together. But.
Yep. But shout out Notre Dame.
Shout out Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman, you needed that, buddy.
Maybe your seat's not as hot, but I still think it's pretty hot.
Oh man, I don't even know who these bozos play next week anyway. So we're gonna move on to the next one. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on this game. Okay. So
I didn't even watch a lick of this game.
Okay, so on the 3:30 slate, we had Tennessee, Florida on the big screen. We were flipping between Texas Tech and Texas and Minnesota, Michigan State on the left. On the right, where I was sitting, of course, I was going to have the game I had money on, as in Washington State, Oregon. And Washington State, thank God, they drove down the field and scored a garbage time touchdown at the end. So they did cover 6.5 points. But I also sprinkled a little bit on the money line. I thought the Wazoo was going to pull it out. They lost this game in 3 plays. They were winning the entire game, dominating. Bo Nix was playing like Bo Picks, played inconsistent, finally stepped it up at the end. And they just allowed Oregon to sneak back into it. They lost it on 3 plays. Oregon scored a touchdown, goes for 2 and gets it, takes the lead. And I was like, oh gosh, I got to go back inside. Because I went outside, chill out for a second. And then I go back inside. And Oregon scored another touchdown. The first play off the 2-point conversion, Washington State throws a pick 6. Gosh, you hate to see it, man.
You hate to see it, man. Bad beats.
They were winning.
This weekend was the weekend of bad beats.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the Las Vegas Raiders. Don't even get me started on the Las Vegas Raiders. Totally different subject, though. But yeah, Washington State, shout out to them. They did cover. Oregon, every game you win makes Georgia just look a little bit better, even though Georgia looked like they played in the MAC this weekend, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about it. Okay. Georgia looked terrible. They did not look like number 1 team in the country, but
I mean, they still won by what, like 16, 26?
Not enough is the correct.
Not enough. Yeah. Nowhere near enough. They shouldn't.
Yeah, no, they look bad. They let the rat poison get to them. And shout out Jameson. He sent a comment last week. Man, I love the rat poison. He's a big Alabama fan. And, yeah, it got to us. And I just feel bad for the Missouri Tigers. I was just going to tell you this right now. I don't think it mattered who Georgia played next. They are going to come out and they're about to go through hell this week in
Yeah, Kirby
practice, and
Smart is absolutely gonna.
they are going to come out and absolutely destroy Missouri this week.
I think
So
so
I
too.
think they can win by 5. They're favored by 28 points. So I would definitely be taking that. But yeah, besides the point, Oregon, Dan Lanning, love to see you do good. Bo Nix, you stepped up when it mattered most. Washington State, you're going to be an upset team to watch out for in the Pac-12 this year. I'm excited to see where y'all go and you continue to grow as a program. Yeah, so that's about all I got to say on that. And I've never done so many round of applauses, but the Kansas Jayhawks, my goodness,
Chalk, baby.
Rank Kansas, man. When I saw the AP poll released yesterday and Kansas wasn't ranked, I sent out a tweet. I was like, AP poll just got released.
Kansas isn't on it.
Kansas is not ranked. We riot.
We riot.
Yeah.
That was
I
felt the same way. Because what?
They're technically ranked 26. They were the team receiving the most votes just outside the top 25.
They're the best team in the Big 12.
They are statistically at the moment. Jalen Daniels, 6 total touchdowns against Duke. Duke played a good game. They did. They really didn't turn the ball over, didn't do anything bad. But man, this Kansas team is like, gosh, legit. I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, but they're special. They want it. They're tired of, this is the most wins they've had in 12 years. This is the most wins. They've been through 4 games this year, and it's the most wins they've had in 12 years. Shout out Jayhawks. We love you. We're supporters of the Kansas Jayhawks here at the Going for Two podcast.
Yes, we are.
Daniels, know the name. He's a runner. He's a thrower. He's legit. He doesn't turn the ball over.
He's your QB1.
Yeah, he's good, man.
He's legit.
And shout out Duke. Like this was a really good game to watch. 2 pretty evenly matched teams. Mike Elko's doing a great job at Duke. I had them winning like 2-3 games this year, and they've already won 3. So they're gonna win a few more in the ACC. Don't you worry about that. But yeah, shout out Kansas.
Who does Kansas play this week?
Iowa State. We'll talk about them more in a second. Come on now, you can't forget about the end of the show.
No, I'm not.
So yeah, they play Iowa State and they're not favored, but we'll get to that in a second. So, well, that does it for week 4. Let's hop right on into week 5, my brother.
All right.
You got
NC State Clemson. After last week, bro, after what DJU showed me and that he's actually kind of clicking with this offense, I see Clemson taking care of business against NC State at home. For sure.
Here's the only thing. I have Clemson winning the game. They're playing at home. I don't think they've lost a home game. The last time they lost a home game was when Deshaun Watson was either a sophomore or junior. They lost to Pittsburgh when they had James Conner. Like, that's how long ago it's been since Clemson's lost at home. So it's been a minute. NC State, the difference that's going to be between, them versus Wake Forest is the pass rush is existent. So, yes, DJ could operate. He had all day. He could let the plays develop. But we've seen how DJ plays whenever, there is a pass rush there, and he's skittish. And I understand he's been running the ball a little bit more. I'm not saying Clemson's going to lose because I'm picking Clemson to win. I was going to say it right now. These spreads, I'm not, messing with any of these except for, maybe 1 or 2 this week.
Neither am I.
I'm not going to mess – I'm not going to make any predictions, official predictions as far as, actual betting goes. But, for the show, I'll, choose a side. I'm going to choose Clemson to win. And I guess if I had to have them win, it's at home. I'd have them win by a touchdown. But if Devin Leary can light up like he did last year and expose the holes in the Clemson secondary, watch out. The Wolfpack might pull it out.
The Wolfpack might. Yeah.
So you're taking Clemson as well?
I'm just going to take Clemson. Yeah, I'm just going to take Clemson. I'm not going to see, like you said, I don't like any of these spreads this week except for I'd probably buy Arkansas up to 18, but other than that.
Yep.
But actually, I don't even know about we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. But I'm going to take Clemson to win outright.
Yeah.
But if If I were to take points, I'm going to take NC State plus 6.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's so many coin flips, man.
It is.
All right, well, we're gonna stick in the ACC. I tried to group it up by conference, if you couldn't tell. Wake Forest, after a heartbreaker, goes on the road to a very hot and newly ranked Florida State
team.
Um,
Which they deserve.
They do. They're 4-0, and they look legit, man. They're ranked for the first time in a few years. 22 versus 23 in Tallahassee. The Criminals, I think they will win this game.
I think they do too. I'm going to take Florida State money line.
I am as well. I'm going to choose Florida State to win.
But if we're going to do spreads, I'm going to take Wake plus 7.
I will as well. I was about to say the same thing. Jordan Travis, dude, he got hurt in that Louisville game, and people were freaking out that he might not be back for the entire year, and he came back the next week. He lit it up against Boston College last week, dude.
Yeah,
if they can play with the confidence, man, Mike Norvell's doing something special. He was on the hot seat 5 weeks ago, and now look at him. If they keep this up, they're going to be – watch out. Clemson's coming into Tallahassee later this year. Watch out.
Clemson, yeah, they better watch out.
Yeah. But, hey, if Sam Hartman can play like he did last week, Wake Forest will win this game. But
for sure.
Florida State's favored for a reason. Everybody's going to be on Wake Forest. I'm going to take Florida State to win the game. And as far as a spread goes, I would lean more towards Wake Forest plus 7. And these lines are going to move. These lines have moved 4 times today.
By the end of this week, you may you don't know.
Yeah, Clemson started out as 5.5.
Could be -3.
Clemson opened up at 5.5. Florida State was 7.5. Baylor stayed consistent. Kansas State opened up at 6. LSU opened up at 6, and they already up to 9.
That's how bad Auburn is.
Yeah. Mississippi State opened up at 2. They've already bumped up to 3.5. Ole Miss has stayed the same. They might have opened up at 6.5, and Bama opened up at 16 or 15.5, and they're already up to 17. And it's only Monday, so these are only going to continue to get bigger. So, yeah, but I'm taking the Criminals to win this game against Wake Forest.
Me too.
All right, moving on to the Big 12 country, the most exciting conference to watch in ball right now. Number 9, Oklahoma State with low. Hey, just watch out. Spencer Sanders putting up some really good numbers. Might be, Heisman voter. Receive some votes for the Heisman. Just watch out for it. Going on the road, taking on Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears, ranked 16th. Nice bounce back win last week after taking an L to BYU in Provo. The Bears are favored at home by a little less than a field goal. Who you taking?
I'm going to take Mike Gundy and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Go Pokes. Shout out Mason Hogan.
I'm going to take Oklahoma State as well. And it's kind of scary because
it is. But I don't know, man, because it's in Waco.
It's in Waco. I think Oklahoma State's out for blood after the Big 12 championship last year. I think Spencer Sanders thinks he's got something to prove. I think Gundy's got something to prove. He wants that Big 12 championship, man. I think it's eluded him, except for the year that they in 2012 or whatever it was, and they had Justin Blackman. But besides that, I mean, it's something he's never been able to get, and he's been there forever. He's been there longer than I think Nick Saban's been at Alabama. So it's been a while.
Mike Gundy has been there for a long time.
Shout out to him. I don't know. The only thing that's scary is that it's in Baylor. These are 2 evenly matched teams. It's going to be a dogfight.
I think it will be too.
I think defense is going to win this game, and I just don't know who's to hang on to more. Obviously, I guess I would lean Baylor, but I don't know. I think Spencer Sanders is going to show up and light it up. So that's why I'm going with Oklahoma State. I think Gundy's going to be ready. They're coming out for blood.
I think they're coming out for blood too, for sure.
Yeah. All right, next up, we just talked about the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. They're going on the road to Manhattan, Kansas, take on newly ranked 25th ranked Kansas State. Kansas State a little bit more than a touchdown favorite at 8 points. Shout out Adrian Martinez. Man had like 5 rushing touchdowns against Oklahoma with the Oklahoma defense that we thought was going to be back, but you let Adrian Martinez. Talk about right place, right time. Buddy left Nebraska at the perfect time and now is shining at Kansas State. So good for him. Because I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, he was a Heisman. They were like talking about him in the preseason Heisman race, and he just never got it together. So more of a Scott Frost problem, but I'm glad Kansas State, I like when they're doing a little bit good. I know you and I talked about in the Big 12 that they were, they were going to be a team to watch out for. They were going to be a team.
Yeah, they're going to be the team that would beat
Yeah.
teams that they shouldn't. And
Yeah.
look at them. I mean,
they went. Hey, that's like 3 out of the last 4 years they've beat Oklahoma 2 times in Norman. So
that's impressive.
Yeah. Brent Venables just carrying on the Lincoln Riley tradition, I guess. But I'm gonna take Kansas State to win. It's at home. They're riding a hotter hand. I know that they lost to Tulane, but they needed that win last week. I think Texas Tech. This is definitely a fallback spot for them.
I think so too, and I think Kansas State gets the job done here. And if Texas Tech beats Kansas State, I say you flop rankings with them. Texas Tech is unranked.
If Kansas wins, Kansas better be ranked 25th at least.
But they haven't played anybody really. Actually, yeah, they have. They beat West Virginia. They beat U of H. They beat a 3-0 Duke.
Yeah.
So you're right. Yeah. They should be in.
They should be ranked right now.
But but when you're a team like Kansas State and you beat a big name like Oklahoma, you're going to be put in over.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
A team that beats Duke, yeah.
As far as spread goes, I'd honestly take Kansas State in the 8. So
I would too.
Yeah. But now our last 4 that we got on here, all SEC ball. First one, we got the LSU Tigers going on the road to Jordan-Hare Stadium to take on the Auburn Tigers. So I'll go ahead and give you the pick of the century. The Tigers are winning this game.
They're both.
Exactly.
You caught. Yeah, you tricked me there. You tricked me there because I was thinking the Tigers are going to win this game.
The Tigers are winning this game. Man, don't you just feel bad for Brian Hart? Or no, I feel bad for Brian Harsin because he knows he's getting fired at some point this year. But like, my God, if you're going to fire him, just do it. Like, just do it. Instead of just waiting, stop trying to have an excuse. If you want to fire him so bad, just fire him. Did Auburn really win last week, if we're being honest here? Did they really win? They didn't.
No.
And that game was worse than watching like my high school team, my sophomore year, getting blown out by everybody we played because it was the first year we were programmed. I would have rather watched a blowout of my high school games my sophomore year than watch Auburn versus Missouri on ESPN on national television at 12 o'clock. Get out of here, man. If Auburn would have lost, Brian Harsin would have been fired an hour later, max. But instead, they escaped with the win.
And he's going to get fired this week.
And I think he'll probably end up getting fired this week as well. But if they win, he's going to live to see another day. So
I really do think next game he loses, he's gone.
Oh, yeah, I do as well. They're just waiting on an excuse. But yeah, I'm going to take the LSU Tigers. I don't know. You kept it close with Missouri at home. Penn State blew you out at home. LSU has looked really good ever since that Florida State game. They blew out Mississippi State. They blew out they played New Mexico 138-0, played Southern, an FCS school, blew them out. Brian Kelly's starting to get on the right track. I'm going to take LSU.
I'm taking LSU as well.
The line is creeping up too much for my liking for me to
I'm not taking them at 9.
I wish I would have jumped on it last night at 7, but you know what? I'm just going to stay away from it, but I'm just going to pick the LSU Tigers to roll into Jordan-Hare Stadium and get the win.
Me too. Wait, do we have every single same pick for this week?
I don't know. I don't know if we do or not. I don't think we do for the next game.
No, I don't think we do.
I don't think we do either. So, I'll go ahead and introduce the next game. Anybody that's just listening, not watching. 17th ranked Texas A&M, Aggies coming off 2 pretty big wins against ranked opponents, against Miami. Well, not as big of a win anymore. And then Arkansas, who's now ranked 20th, but was ranked 10th at the time last week. They travel on the road to Starkville, Mississippi to face the Bulldogs, who are 3.5-point favorites. Hot take, I'm taking Mississippi State not only to win, but to cover.
That's a hot take.
But I like it at 3 or 2.5. That's what I got. I got it at 2.5.
You know what I'm going to
Now
do
it's
just for
3.5.
you, Hunter?
What?
Just for you. I'm going to find a line somewhere, a reverse line of Texas A&M -3.5 just for you.
Okay. Thank you.
I think the Aggies take care of it. After last week, I kind of think they got their crap together, and after Miami, starting Max Johnson has changed a lot. Haynes King was not the guy for them. And
Yeah,
I
Max
think if
Johnson takes care of
Max
the ball,
Johnson
man.
takes care of the rock, then I think they'll roll over Mississippi State without any problem.
I don't know. Mississippi State's at home. They're favored for a reason. They are favored for a reason. I think Will Rogers going to light it up. He's probably going to turn the ball over like 2 or 3 times, but like that's okay when you throw the ball 70 times. Mike Leach, Bigfoot. Hey, whoa. Hey, let's just take it out for a second. This game in our SEC preview, it was A&M plays Arkansas, then Mississippi State, and then they played Bama. And I said I thought they were going to lose to Arkansas, and they were going to lose this game. But now that they've beat Arkansas, this is a definition of a trap game. They play Alabama next week, and I had them losing in the preview. I'm staying with my pick. I'm taking Mississippi State to beat A&M this year at home, and they're favored for a reason. I'm taking the Bulldogs, and I'm taking them to win by a field goal minimum.
All right.
So.
All right.
We'll see.
I'll remind you that come Sunday or come Saturday afternoon. Saturday
okay.
night.
I'll remind you that you had Kentucky in the SEC championship after this week too.
Hey man.
So far, you look good.
So far, I'm looking good.
Yeah.
Mister, I have Miami in my playoff. Okay, they're 0-2 in the past 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I know. I got it. Wait, I made the announcement for the reason. Okay.
I know. I just had to give you a hard time, but
yeah, I know. We're not gonna ever live that one down, are we?
No, just like once Kentucky loses this game, I'm not ever gonna live down them going 12-0.
Man.
So like I just said, I think Ole Miss takes care of business against Kentucky in Mississippi this week. I think that, I mean, I even think Ole Miss could cover 7.
I think Ole Miss can cover 7 as well. The difference between Ole Miss the past 2 years and Ole Miss this year, they've become a lot more run heavy, and they've been making teams like them running the ball. Lane Kiffin has called out the fans. They had a press conference, and he was complaining about how fans were leaving early against Tulsa, and he didn't appreciate it. So he's calling them out, called out the students, said, y'all better be there against Kentucky. Ole Miss, Florida State, Mississippi State, Baylor, they're all teams that should they really be favored? And it's not even that they're just favored. They're favored by a touchdown or a field goal. So, the books always know something we don't, okay? So, once again, man, my preseason predictions have been looking really good this episode besides the Miami thing. Yes, I know. But I had Ole Miss beating Kentucky in the regular season. I'm going to stick with my pick. I'm going to take Ole Miss to beat Kentucky. I'm not touching the spread at all. I don't know because Kentucky's defense, if they showed up like they did in the swamp against Florida, Ole Miss will not win this game. But if Ole Miss can take care of the ball, chew the clock, and Will Levis, if they can just challenge Will Levis a little bit, they're going to be fine. I think since it's at home, I think it's probably going to be a primetime game if I had to take a gamble. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. I'm taking Ole Miss. I'm going to take the Rebs to beat Kentucky this week.
I'm going to take them too. I think Ole Miss takes care of business against Kentucky, and my 12-0 prediction of Kentucky goes through the window.
Well, man, now you're really going to look like an idiot if Kentucky does win.
I'm really going to look
to your word, man.
Yeah, I'm really going to look dumb, but I don't know, man. I think Ole Miss takes care of them. But you cover the next game. I got to go grab something real quick. I'll be right back.
All good. I can take care of this one solo until you get back. Okay, so the next game is number 2 Alabama going on the road to Fayetteville, Arkansas, taking on 20th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. Um, both Jansen and I, before the season started, in our SEC preview game predictions, I should say, we we had Arkansas beating Alabama outright, considering it was at home. Arkansas might be a little beat up from playing A&M. I'm just not exactly sure. Bama's favored by 17. The line opened up at 16 or 15 and a half, and it just continues to grow. Kind of giving me Alabama, Texas vibes. Bama opened up at 20, closed at 22 and a half at kickoff. And then we saw how the outcome of that game was. But yeah, I think I'm going to take Arkansas to cover 17 points, and Alabama is going to probably win this game. They looked like they were capitalizing on all cylinders last week against Vandy, and we already talked about the Arkansas game from last week. But the thing I'm going to relate this to is this. So, Kansas State, 2 weeks ago, they lost to Tulane. Okay, they are a American Athletic Conference school in Louisiana. Okay, they had no business losing that game. Oklahoma 2 weeks ago goes into Lincoln, Nebraska, blows the door off of that place, and beats Nebraska up and down the field. 1 week later, Kansas State, bounce back situation. Oklahoma thought they were sitting pretty. Kansas State goes into that building, takes the win from Oklahoma. Do not be surprised if Arkansas does that this week. Don't be surprised.
This is what I got to say. And this is the game I've been waiting on all year. This is my favorite game that I'm looking forward to this season. We saw the way Alabama played in Austin. Because I mean, you played Hudson Card most of that. Texas played Hudson Card most of that game. Quinn Ewers got hurt. He didn't play the entire game. You face an Arkansas team in Arkansas with the atmosphere of Fayetteville. I think Alabama's got to lose a game this year. I really do. And I genuinely do think that this is the game that they're going to lose. I think everybody's going to be all over Alabama.
That's what I was talking about when you were gone. Everybody was all over Bama. I said it's giving me Texas vibes, man.
It is.
They opened up at, what was it? They opened up at 20 and a half or 20-point favorites and closed at 22 and a half at kickoff. It's already doing the same thing one day in. It's going to continue to grow in Bama's favor. Everybody's down in Arkansas, man. And
after
I just
last week, they need to bounce back and they need to make a statement.
And I just made that Kansas State Oklahoma analogy. Bama, they've been people have been like, man, this ain't Alabama. Alabama doesn't look as good. Then they go in there. Now everybody's back on the Bama train after they went into Bryant-Denny, whooped to Vandy. Arkansas just lost a tough one to Texas A&M. It's the same situation.
Ben Pittman's going to get that team ready.
I'm not going on record. Let me just get it clear right now.
I'm going on record. I'm taking Arkansas money line. Damn it.
Well,
I'm going on record. I'm putting money on it for Arkansas to beat Alabama and Fayetteville.
I love the enthusiasm. Hey, well, both you and I both. I said this again. I said this while you were gone. We both picked them in the preseason to beat Alabama.
Yes.
And I think that I'm going to go on record and say Arkansas is going to cover the points because everybody's already going like Bama's going to blow the doors off of them. Bama really not the best on the road. Yes, they're Alabama and they win all the time, but, in situations like this, they usually don't play the best. And so I'm going to take Arkansas plus 18. The safe bet would be to choose Alabama to win the game. But I'm saying right now, and I know obviously Jansen's all in on the Hogs, but don't be surprised if Arkansas wins this game.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Well, this is going to be – is it under the lights?
I don't remember. No, it's the 3:30 CBS kickoff.
Man, I wish they.
Well, it'll be dark about a little after halftime, so it'll start to set.
Yeah, true. You're right.
Yeah.
It'll finish in the dark.
Yeah, that wraps up Week 5 for us, as far as that goes. Excuse me. So now we have a new segment. Our new segment, we have another one. following this one. So we introduced this last week, but we didn't put it on the show because we came up with the idea right after the show, and we put it on our Twitter. Go follow us at going_for2 on Twitter. But this is going to be our parlay of the week. I think the sketchiest two would be Kansas and Arkansas. I could obviously see somebody wanting to argue, but Minnesota. We said we were going to talk about them later in the show. This is what we were referring to. They are 9.5. Well, they're 10.5. Sorry, when I made this last night or this morning, they were 10.5 point favorites. We bought it down to 9.5. I think as this recording is going on, they are almost 12-point favorites. So take it while you can, because Aiden O'Connell for Purdue is probably not going to play this week. Minnesota's at home. They are showing out. They want to be top tier of the Big Ten. We're going to keep rowing the boat. They're our first leg, minus 130, 9.5 point favorites. Obviously, we're both on the Kansas train. They are hosting. They are at home again. They're hosting Iowa State. Iowa State has looked rocky. Low scoring. I would be,
almost lost to Iowa.
Yeah. I know Kansas, their offense has looked really good so far, but Iowa State's defense is pretty solid. Matt Campbell, pretty solid coach. I know his name gets thrown around for any new head coaching job, I swear. But we're going to keep riding the Kansas train. They are not favored. We're going to take them in the points. We bought it down to 120. They're at 3.5 right now. We got it at +4. So we're going to take the Jayhawks as our second leg. We just talked about them. The lowest we could get them at for a parlay was 17.5. We're taking the Arkansas Razorbacks minus 130. We literally just went over it. But we think they can cover 17.5, 18 points against Bama, possibly even win the game. And our final leg, gosh, man, I really didn't think I was going to say this, but you've been crapping all over me for Miami. Now I'm about to give you praise because you might have been the only person in America, especially on this side of the West Coast.
Yeah, that is said that Washington's going to be legit.
Good. Yeah. Well, they're going on the road. They are 3.5 point favorites against UCLA. UCLA's undefeated. Washington's undefeated. Washington's getting a lot of recognition to their name. That line's going to continue to jump. So we took the money line just to be safe because it might be close. You just never know with UCLA. They are one of the most inconsistent teams. They are 4-0, but they almost lost to South Alabama. Michael Penix Jr., as RG3 says, got
big Penix energy.
Big Penix energy. He's slinging it, man. He's tough. I mean, I was watching him on Saturday night late. They were playing Pac-12 After Dark against Stanford. They just look so good. They're physical. And shout out to you for calling Washington to be good because they are looking good. So that's got our last leg. Washington money line minus 175. Odds might not be the best. I mean, plus 758. That's risking $10 to win $75.80. Or
I'll take it.
If you're big money, out there, that's risk $100 to win $758. So, but that's going to be the going for two parlay of the week. All right, and our last segment of the night.
And we have a new segment. Shout out Big John.
All right, Dad. Well, okay. After one of our videos, if you watch on YouTube, you can see behind me in my background that there's a beer deer that my dad got me for Christmas last year. Whoa.
What's fancy. Going on? There we go. Sorry.
He got me it for Christmas last year. And in one of our videos, he was like, man, who's the beer deer taking? What's the beer deer pick? So now we thought it'd be funny to introduce the beer deer pick of the week. And it's not going to be a top tier game or anything like that, but just something fun to do.
Yeah.
And if you, this is something that we would literally consider betting on too. So, all right. So let me go over here. The beer deer wrote me a message just a second ago. He left me 2 messages on here.
What did he leave you?
Well, he said the pick is in.
The pick is in.
And the pick is Navy versus Air Force under 37.5, hashtag for the troops.
I love it.
So the Beer Deer's going with Navy versus Air Force. Service academies, when they play each other, the final score is not very high. So smart pick for the Beer Deer. We'll keep track of his record since we're going into week 5. So we'll have a full season under his belt. But he's going with the Navy versus the Air Force under points of 37.5 because he is for the troops. So shout out Beer Deer, shout out Dad. We appreciate you. But yeah, so that's going to conclude our segments for the evening.
Yes, sir.
Quick little week 4 recap, week 5 preview, two new segments, parlay of the week, and then the Beer Deer pick of the week. You love to see it.
I do love it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening
Yes.
as always. Don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, follow us on Twitter at going_for2.
Leave us a comment. Tell Hunter that he's done for having Miami as playoff contender, and tell me that I'm a genius for having Washington be good. I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking with you, bro.
No, I know.
But
I'm never going to be able to live that one down. I mean, I did it to myself. So,
hey, man, that's all right. I'm not going to be able to live down Kentucky after this week. So, okay. I'm going back on I don't ever go back on what I say, but I'm going back and saying that. Yeah,
it's
I
all
don't think
good, my
Kentucky
friend.
gets it done this week, man.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, everybody. Don't forget, God first, God bless. We appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.